Hello and welcome to Travel Base. It's Ghana's #1 travel show bringing you the best of Ghana and beyond. I am JJD. Now, as of 2 days ago, some of the last places on Earth with no affected cases of COVID-19 include Tuvalu, Marshall Islands, Tonga, Samoa, North Korea, Vanuatu, and Lesotho. Today our focus is on India, the second most populous country and the 7th largest country by area, which has also been affected by the coronavirus. They have 37,336 confirmed cases, 9,951 recoveries, and 1,218 deaths. On Travel Base today, I'll be joined by a Ghanaian missionary based in India as he shares with us the state of affairs in the state in India due to COVID-19. We'll also be finding out today about GTDC. It's Ghana Tourism Development Company. What do they do? Their perspective on the effect of COVID-19 on tourism in Ghana and what role they have in shaking things up in these times. I'll be joined by the marketing and sales manager of GTDC on the show today. Food Buzz will also be brought to us by our roaming ambassador, Meg Benson. Go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Travel Base. Stay with me on Travel Base. Stay with me on Travel Base. Our roaming ambassador Meg Benson takes us on a journey to her latest discovered spot. She's a foodie at heart and she brings us food buzz on Travel Base. Here's our roaming ambassador Meg Benson.
Good weekend! This is the roaming ambassador Meg Benson. I review food and places globally. Call me your food guide. Where are we headed to today? I'm taking you right into Asylum Down. Opposite Ensalada, Rice and Chicken Express. Okay, one of my friends introduced me to this place, and after I tasted the food, it's like the best knockoff of papaya. It's like you're having papaya, but it's the rice qualities actually is better. It's not exactly papaya, but listen, it's the best knockoff of papaya I've had, and it's cheaper. It's 18 Ghana cedis. You can drive up there, sit in your car, they'll take your order. You can pay via mobile money, no contact. Your food is put in the car and you drive off. Okay, the one that's just like papaya, you can ask for the rice and grilled chicken or rice and fried chicken. Listen, the coleslaw, right to the coleslaw, the shito is just like paella, but it's less. So if you have a head of people to feed and you don't feel like cooking, or you want to take out your friends, get some food, you don't want to spend too much, I recommend Rice and Chicken Express. I'm still a mega fan of papaya, but hey, if you don't have 25 and you have 18, Rice and Chicken Express is just as good. You will love it. They have other food options, but what I've tried is the rice and grilled chicken and rice and fried chicken. So I can recommend that. Okay? Have an amazing weekend. Stay home, stay safe. Don't forget to follow my Instagram page, roaming_ambassador. Have an amazing weekend. Ciao.
Thank you, Meg, and for you listening. Let us know when you make an order. Let us know what your thoughts are on our roaming ambassadors review. My guest is Tismark Spencer. He's a Ghanaian missionary based in India, married to an Indian with 2 children, and he shares his lockdown experience with us. Tismark, can you help us know what the feeling is like in your state in India?
Well, I would say that the feeling people have in general concerning this virus is fear. Fear of being infected, fear of, I would say, more suffering because no jobs, companies are shut down. You cannot do your normal work except for those who are working online. But otherwise, 90% of the jobs in my state in Telangana are shut down. So money is not coming into people's pocket as it used to be.
For how long have you been under lockdown?
We had the lockdown in our state, it was announced on 20th March.
We know that in Italy, some people are being very creative at this time, getting on their balconies and singing. Would like to know, is anything interesting or creative happening in India at this time, in your state in particular?
Over here, one of the things I've realized that is a bit creative in this lockdown period is that when I look at those who sell vegetables and fruits, and a number of them who can afford to sell with small trucks, they put their items, that's the vegetables and the fruit, they put them on trucks. A truck that can be pushed. So two groups, one with a normal car truck, smaller ones, they pack the vegetables and the fruit on them, and then others also, they have a simple one that they push, and then with a megaphone they move from road to road in the vicinities, and then they announce their presence, can come to them and buy. That is one main thing, because at the moment what people need more is food. We go out, it's only food you are going to buy. Apart from that, there is nothing again, and there is no market. Markets are shut down.
Can you share with us what your daily routine is like? Has it changed? Has it not changed much?
Usually my daily routine, the main thing that has changed about my daily routine is that I don't go out like to the malls or to church for like midweek services and then my Sunday services, because I am a missionary and I help plant churches, and so that work is not done, and we have our services online for our church members. What is missing in my daily routine is that I don't get to go to the church premises any longer. But my part-time work, usually I work online because I am an online teacher, so it hasn't affected my work that much. Rather, I am working more because people are seated at home with their children, and some of them, they try to contact online teachers and to teach them. So it has rather somehow increased the number of students I have, and it has increased my hours of teaching in a day. I think that is one thing that has happened in my daily routine. Another thing that has happened is that I rather have a lot of disturbance in the house because my son is at home. Schools are shut down, so, and then because he's at home, he makes a lot of noise. Because I used to have a quiet house, quiet home, not so much noise when my son goes to school. But since the lockdown, he's been with us at home, and it is more noise, but it's also a blessing.
If you had to share with us one thing that this pandemic has taught you that you will never forget, what would that be?
One of the lessons I've learned in this period is that, we all started the year happily, 2020, with prophecies and encouragement and declarations and a lot of hope and belief that it shall be better. And we still believe that it shall be better in the name of Jesus Christ. But I realize that anything can happen at any time, and it is difficult to tell exactly what is coming after someone or a people sometimes. And to me, I've learned that the truth still remains, that the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run to it and they are saved, and that Christ Jesus in us is the only way we can have a glorious hope and a powerful consciousness of a better tomorrow awaiting us.
I'm sure your friends and family are tuned in this afternoon to Travel Base. What's your message to them?
My message to my friends and family in Ghana in these times is that we should hold on. We should hold on to Jesus more. This is not the time to relax, in our Christianity, but then we should stick to the Bible and the anointed messages that we have from our pastors and our fathers and our priests, whatever we get online, and strengthen our spiritual growth in this moment. I believe that it shall be well with us all.
Thank you very much, Tismak Spencer, for making time to speak with us on Travel Base. Do stay safe.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard about GTDC? What is their role here in Ghana, and what have they been up to? All of this and more coming up on my interview with Malcolm Apudu, Sales and Marketing Manager of GTDC. Tell us about GTDC.
The Ghana Tourism Development Company, or GTDC for short, is one of the 11 agencies under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. We are set up with a specific mandate, and our mandate is to invest in tourism infrastructure as well as do tourism investments.
Tell us about some plans that GTDC has or had, which may have been affected or will be affected by COVID-19.
Yes, for us at the Ghana Tourism Development Company, GTDC, we have been heavily affected by COVID-19, and it is based on the projects that we had, the events and activities, as well as direct sales revenue that we've lost. When it comes to project, you can talk about something like project time. We've lost about 2-3 months of project time. Also, there were some projects that we were looking for partners in terms of developers, investors. All this have taking a bit of time of that process, out of that process. And also, if they are investors who are probably looking at the tourism or hospitality industry, they will probably now shift to probably healthcare or maybe health-related products and services, for example. So these are some of the things that we've lost. So some of the projects that we're working on, the key amongst them is the Marine Drive Tourism Project. We also have our own the Ghana Center of the World project, where we had about 3 projects that we're going to undertake in Tema. That includes the Tema Country Golf Club, where we're going to transform it into a world-class international resort, for example. And we had invested that we're considering, and we have some other processes that we're ongoing on that. We also have the Ghana Tourism Development Project, which we were working with under the World Bank funded project. It's one of the World Bank, it's a World Bank project that is being funded by the World Bank. It's called the Ghana Tourism Development Project, where we at GTDC were handling a couple of projects. For example, the Akwamufie Palace Museum, where we're going to do some upgrade and also put in some revenue assurance measures there so that we can increase the number of visitations there. And also we have the Paga Crocodile Pond, where we're going to transform the pond and the area and the experientials and everything. Then we have some other ones that we're working with, also with some other agencies who directly are not under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, where we are leading as implementing agencies. So we have lost project time. We've lost in terms of focus of investors or attention of investors, for example. On our own too, we had what we call the Tourism Site Development Project, where we were developing some tourist site that we manage. For example, we have some enhancements and upgrade that we're supposed to do at Asimmanso. We also have some projects that we're doing at the Big Tree, which is at Akimapri Kumasi. It's the biggest tree in West Africa. I'm sure most of your listeners have not even heard about it. So, it comes under our ambit, and we're planning to upgrade and also put in some new facilities and attractions at the place. But we've lost about 2-3 months of time, but God being so good, we've just started to move on it, and I'm sure in the next week or 2 we will do the sword cutting, and the event, the activity or the project will commence. When you talk about the event side and events and activity side, you talk about tour operations as well as tourist site management. So, for example, we had activations that we wanted to engage in on Easter, planning on going to 2 regions, that is the Eastern and Volta regions, where Easter is usually heavy. We also had some activation for May Day that we're planning to also organize for some of our workers who have been working so hard all through the year. Then we also had some other tour operations and also tour activations around certain festivals in the Eastern region and some other regions. The key thing too that has also been affected is the beyond the return activations. We had the birthright, we have some other activity that we're going to do under the beyond the return, but because of COVID-19, everything has had to be rescheduled to later part of the year or some other quarters where the care for COVID-19 had flattened or the infection rate has slowed down and all that. So those are the things. For example, under the birthright, we're going to have the naming and the first battle of return and naming ceremonies at the same month, so every quarter, for example. But because of COVID-19, even your primary gets or targets, the borders have been shut, so there's no way they are going to come in. So
let's talk about the year of return, beyond the year of return. How has that also been affected?
The loss of merchandise revenue, where we're going to do some merchandise items under the beyond the return. I mean, we're not going to be able to do that, for example. So
tell us about the golf tournament you had coming up.
We're going to have the third edition of our Ghana Center of the World golf tournament. I mean, this is a golf tournament that we've organized the past two editions that we've organized in Tema. I mean, it's one of the important stakeholder engagement process for our Ghana Center of the World project that is going to go on in Tema. So eventually, one of the major projects out of this activity is for us to turn Tema into an international golf resort where people will come from all over the world to come and play golf. So that's why we have started with the golf event, and that's why we call it the Ghana Center of the World Golf Tournament. I mean, if you have time, one day I'll come to your studios and then explain a bit more on that particular project. So, I mean, this year, usually we organize the event in July, but with the way things are going now, we are trying to reschedule to the last month of the third quarter or probably fourth quarter. You know, this year is an election year, to maybe we'll make sure that after discussing with our stakeholders at the Tema Country Golf Club, we will see how best we can come about. I mean, these are how we have been impacted. I mean, this is an event that we're having every year, the past 2 years. Last year's edition was the Year of Return edition. We had the first edition the year before, and we're trying to ramp up. I mean, this year we're even having plans of even making it a West African affair where we can get some of our colleagues from Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Benin, and some of the other countries along the West Coast to come and play golf in Ghana. But here we are with COVID-19. Then the third bit, the final bit is, I mean, directly sales revenue. I mean, we as a car rental company, we had a number of clients that we take them across the country on a month-to-month basis throughout the year. We also have international clients who come in and we take them across the country. Because of COVID-19, I mean, all those contracts or assignments have been put on hold, and directly we are losing revenue. We had also some corporate hangouts that we're going to organize within the year. It's been put on hold. Then, most especially tour operations. And tour operations, I mean, the borders are shut. People are not coming in. Even in Ghana, domestic tourism, people are not traveling because of making sure that you can observe the protocols. Because people are not coming in, it means that those who are also want to visit the tourist sites too cannot be there. I mean, since I think 23rd of March, we've shut Asemanso, Big Odan Tree, and some of the tourist sites that we are working on or where we are operating or managing. So nobody is coming there, and that is a loss of revenue, and also affects the number of people that visits there. So in case you want to make a business case to an investor, why you should put his money in, I mean, you've lost all this time, one in terms of revenue, and secondly in terms of the number of visitations, which will make a good case for you to get people to invest in your facility.
I'd like to know, from the perspective of GTDC, how hard would you say tourism companies have been hit due to COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, I think tourism is one of the hardest hit sectors, if not the hardest hit sector, because majority of revenues that comes through to the economy from tourism usually comes from international tourists, and once the borders are closed, I mean, you can imagine. I mean, once there is a disease like this or there's a virus like this, it prevents people from traveling. And this brings about a lot of fear and panic, and also people will cancel. I mean, we've seen a lot of cancellation of a lot of tours that was coming to Ghana. I mean, we were seeking to build on the Year of Return to the Beyond the Return. A lot of people, we had made plans. There were people who had booked to come this year from June. I mean, even though this year was not going to have Panafest, but we're going to have Emancipation Day, which a lot of people were going to come in from June, July to August, and we had booked some groups who were going to come this year, but because of the COVID-19, they all had to cancel their bookings. I mean, we had almost about very big clients who were coming for this year, following the Year of Return, and some of the activations and some of the things that we did, but because of that, we can't do it. I mean, if you look even at the hotels was basically doing the occupancy rate between 70 to 80%. During COVID-19, I mean, it's slumped to between 10 to 20%. I mean, some of them are even doing 5%, 10%. I mean, all those trade associations under the Ghana Tourism Federation, that's GATOF, Tour Operators Association of Ghana, we have the Chef Association, we have who have been hit by this. And you know, once tourism is affected or impacted, a lot of homes, a lot of families, a lot of individuals will be affected as well, because you realize that tourism is the only sector that employs both skilled and unskilled labor, and almost every facet of our professional life, or should I say every facet of the society is employed in tourism. I mean, from unskilled labor like porters at hotels, cleaners, janitors at hotels and restaurants and other stuff, to like highly skilled personnel like chefs, like front desk executives, like hotel managers and such top level management personnel. Most people are employed within the tourism sector. I mean, carpenters that work on hotel rooms as housekeeping and also do repairs. We have electricians that do a lot of stuff. So once you have people in the laundry, kitchen, bar, poolside, so many activities. I mean, those who do landscaping and so many. So once the sector is affected, it affects all these people who are employed. And that's the direct effect. The indirect effect means that these people who have families and have people who depend on them are all impacted. So that is how far, when tourism is impacted, that's how far it gets. It has a multiplier effect to thousands and even to some extent millions of people. And when this thing started, we felt it somewhere around February getting to March. At that time, the World Tourism and Travel Council came out to say that about 50 million jobs were going to be lost within the sector. I mean, there are high-end hotels which are having a lot of difficulties in terms of paying salaries for this month and next month and all that, because some of them have not done any business at all, and that's why some of them are looking at how best there can be some stimulus package or something. So, I mean, these are some of the things that we are looking at.
Malcolm, what role would you say that GTDC has to play in shaking up tourism in Ghana post COVID-19? After this whole long break due to initial lockdown measures, ban on gatherings.
I think that the role we have to play in shaking up tourism in Ghana post COVID-19, first of all, I mean, we as GTDC, what we are trying to do is to let people understand that they shouldn't cancel their travel, but they should rather reschedule or postpone it to a certain time of the year where we believe that the flattening or the care for COVID-19 would have flattened for most countries, so that it would have been appropriate for people to travel. We also know that there's going to be a new normal where if you have to travel, you need to show a certificate that shows that you are COVID-19 free, which is going to come, which for us, those of us in tourism, it's a good thing that it assures host countries, port officials, as well as hotels that, the client who is coming in doesn't have any infection of COVID-19. But on the other side too, it also adds to the barrier for traveling or for tourism, because before you travel, you need to get this done. I'm sure it will come out certain costs. You remember, as people travel, they need to get yellow fever vaccination, CSM, that's the cerebrospinal meningitis vaccination, or one thing or the other. So this is going to add up to some of the barriers that we know to travel and tourism. Moreover, to what we're going to see is also, some of us were planning on looking at playing very heavily in the digital space. So whilst we're thinking, and now it has become more of a primary concern, what should I say, it should be our major preoccupation now that we play heavily within the digital space, because we're thinking about having virtual tours where people stay in their countries and be able to take a tour of our Semanson without coming to Ghana, but they're going to do that virtually through the help and the magic of technology that we're going to do. So, I mean, we were in the process of doing something like this, but COVID-19 is just fast-track the process for us to make sure that we can bring it on stream. Maybe the kind of quarter that we're trying to look at, we need, I mean, it means that if we're trying to do it like maybe the last quarter of this year, or looking at it from maybe last quarter to the next year, first quarter of next year, no, it means that we need to do it within this second quarter to third quarter. We need to bring it upstream then to let people know that, okay, you can travel, but this is another way of making sure you can see whatever you want to see in most of the tourist sites or most of the destinations that you are going to go. So for us, we are playing very heavily, and we are also tweaking a lot of our tourist sites and activities to be more digital friendly or to more tech friendly, so that people will be able to experience wherever they are without necessarily traveling or moving from where the comfort of their countries or homes or whatever. So this is how best, first of all, this is how best we are trying to shake up, trying to let people, reassure people that, look, this one shall pass. I mean, after COVID, you can still travel across the country, it will be safer.
It's interesting that you mentioned virtual tours. I've been following that online, and it looks like it's a new shift. Well, for me, I'm now finding out about it. So it's great to know that virtual tour is something that GTDC is considering. Well, Malcolm, for every person tuned in to Travel Base today, I'd like for you to share with us, what can each person do to support the tourism industry in Ghana?
Yeah, we want everybody, every person to support tourism, but first being good ambassadors for Ghana. I mean, in your discussion with people, whether locally or internationally, you just have to let them know that Ghana is the place to visit. We have a number of tourist attractions that they can visit. We have unique cultural experiences, a unique food, a unique festivals that they can come and learn and also be part of. You understand? So, I mean, we want people to be good ambassadors. Aside that, in this COVID-19 era, we also wish every person would adhere to the protocols being put out by the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, as well as the World Health Organization, that is WHO. By so doing, we're able to flatten our curve, we're able to reduce the incidence of COVID-19 in Ghana, which will also become another attraction for Ghana within the West Africa region. And we also hope that our brothers and sisters on the west coast of Africa could also, or in the entire continent, could also make sure they can also reduce their curve, so that in total Africa becomes the shining example in this era, so that we can attract more people to visit the country, and the tourism sector, which employs a lot of people, can also benefit and make sure that the desired multiplier effect in the economy and in the livelihood of people.
Thank you very much, Malcolm, for making the time to speak with us on Travel Base. We're sure to touch base with you again. Thank you for tuning in to Travel Base, Ghana's #1 travel show, bringing you the best of Ghana and beyond. If you've always wondered what the role of GTDC is, I hope today you gained some insights. Many thanks to Malcolm Apiedu, Sales and Marketing Manager of GTDC, for joining us on Travel Base. And also many thanks to Tismark Spencer, Ghanaian missionary based in India, for sharing his lockdown situation in a state in India. Join us same time next week from 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Sunny 88.7 FM on Travel Base. Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our handle is Travel Base. I'm JJD, and this has been Travel Base. Catch you next week.